Hey, what's up, everyone? Just wanted to check in with a quick market update. It's been a long time since I've done a free real estate advice Friday, so here I am. Let's fix my camera a little bit here. So I wanted to just check in with everyone, give you a real quick update here. I'm getting a lot of questions about how the market's doing. It's that time of year again when everyone's kind of getting started about thinking about making a move. Coming off one of the craziest, most heightened real estate markets ever. And everyone kind of wants to know, all right, the holidays are over. It's a new year. How is it out there? So just thought I'd check in with you all and give you a little update from my, as usual, excuse my casual appearance. I'm coming from an inspection, so this is what I look like. It's still pretty crazy out there. So the biggest thing that we're dealing with right now, and this really will apply to what I'm going to talk about today, as it applies to both buyers and sellers, is we are, and I feel like a little bit like a broken record because this is something that we've been saying for the past 18 months or so, maybe even about 2 years. Is that we have a historically low inventory. Now, I've said this in the past about the market, like I said, for probably about 2 years now, maybe even a little longer. But it's only gotten worse. So a lot of us about 2 years ago were kind of commiserating here in the office about what can we do to improve the inventory, and it's a joke amongst realtors asking people to get houses on the market so we can buy houses for our buyers that are anxiously looking. But the fact of the matter is the inventory has actually gotten worse. There's several towns in Hunterdon County that really only have single digit homes for sale, which is unheard of, almost unbelievable. But there are still opportunities out there. It's nuanced. It's always nuanced. One of the biggest things, and I advocate this. I take a lot of calls from people that call me because they saw my face on Zillow, and they think I'm the listing agent, and they call me and hey, I want to ask about your listing on 123 Main Street, and I say that's not my listing, but I'm happy to help you as a buyer. And quite frankly, if you are interested in that house, there's reasons that you shouldn't approach the listing agent directly, because that listing agent works for the seller. You want your own representation. You need a good buyer's agent. And, I pride myself on being a great buyer's agent. Over this last 2 years that we were just talking about, I've had about 70% of my offers accepted, and I take a lot of pride in that. And that's a whole nother subject, but I do have a very proprietary way in which I do my best to get offers accepted. So listen, if you are going to get involved in a real estate transaction in this market, it is imperative that you know the agent that you're working with is refined and understands the nuance of this market, understands and has a very deliberate strategy for you. If they can't talk about their offer strategy, that's very often going to kind of be a non-starter in terms of getting an offer accepted, because sellers can be very picky right now. They have every right. If you're one of the, fictitious number here, but if you're one of the 5 people selling a house in Clinton, and there's a lot more than 5 people that want to move to Clinton right now, so they hold all the cards, and they can be pretty picky. So you want to make sure that your buying agent is being extremely deliberate and strategic about how to get your offer accepted in a sea of offers. So that's something that I pride myself on, and I'm not going to talk too much about that, but I will just say that if you are thinking about making a move and you want to have that conversation with me about what it is that I do to make sure that your offer is fully considered, and we're not just talking about price here. Price is only one variable, and there is a lot more to it than that. In fact, often a high price can be a deterrent if it's not backed properly. So again, very nuanced subject, and I won't get into too much detail with it today because I'm going to try to keep this fairly quick and get back into the rhythm of doing these regularly on Fridays. But on the flip side of that, obviously, if you're a seller, you hold all the cards right now. There is no inventory, and we have, for over the past 2 years, people have had a lot of struggles buying houses. And most of our, I shouldn't say most, but in anything, certainly anything below 500,000, if the house is in decent condition and there's no major issues, you're going to get multiple offers. 3 years ago, that was not a thing. If you got multiple offers, it was considered a huge victory. And now it's the standard. So how confident are you that your agent is going to be one of those people that gets it forward? However, if you're the seller and you're on the receiving end of all these offers, even that takes some strategy, because you need someone that has taken many offers before. I've taken anywhere from, one offer on a listing, and have to explain to my sellers why that's a good or bad offer in light of the fact that it's the only offer. Sometimes it's still not a good offer, and sometimes it's flawed, but it's the only thing you've got. But when you get 20 offers, you really need to be careful who you pick. You want to make sure that the thing is going to close, for most importantly, and you want to be able to spot the concerns and the red flags. It might seem good on the surface level. Again, getting back to that price thing. So someone might have given you 100,000 over asking, but if they have, they're putting 2.5% down and they have no way to cover an appraisal gap, for example, and we know it's not going to appraise for 100,000 over asking price, that offer is not as strong as you might think it would be. And there's negotiation tactics and everything in play there, but for the most part, that's not generally a great strategy. So again, you just want to make sure your agent is very tied into how all this works. And for what it's worth, over the past 2 years of give or take 50 to 60 deals that I've done, I've obviously put in the reps and the time to understand how that works. I have a very specific way that I present those offers to my sellers. I go through each one. I talk about the relative strengths and weaknesses of these offers, and what's risky, what's not risky. But the fact of the matter is, sellers right now are just getting slammed with offers. So if you were thinking about selling your home, I'm not sure there was ever a better time to do it than what's been going on over the past 2 years to 18 months. So if that is something that you've thought about and you're considering, you have concerns about the process, you have concerns about your actual house. I got calls this past week from people who do want to sell, but they're very aware that their house has a specific issue that's going to come up. These are the kind of things that I really kind of pride myself on understanding exactly, how to navigate these things, and what are big concerns and what seem like they might be big concerns, but really aren't that big of a deal. So those are the types of things I'm happy to come sit with you and talk with you and have you show me around the house, show me what your concerns are. I can point out things that I might see, and we can talk about that. But the bottom line is, it's, if that is your situation where you have something that's, of concern, in this market as a seller, there's a very good chance that you can leverage that. You can maybe have a situation where buyers would be willing to overlook that because they're handy and they understand that that is a thing, and that might give them a leg up because they're willing to take that on. Again, cutting back to 3 years ago in a different market, that certainly wasn't always the case. It was, when there's a buyer's market, the tables are completely opposite. So stuff like that has to be dealt with. So that's kind of the current situation that we're in. Super low inventory. If you are a seller, you can't beat doing it right now. If you're looking to downgrade or upgrade, and you're buying at a different price point than you're selling in, which is generally the case unless you're relocating, downsize or an upsize, there's still many opportunities to be had there. If you have to sell your home in order to buy the next one, which we call a home sale contingency, meaning you're not able to close on your new house without getting the proceeds out of your current house, which is a very common situation, especially for people buying their second house or their forever house. They're going to have to sell the first house in order to get the money to get the forever house. There are very specific strategies we can do there. There are bridge loan options. There are you can buy in a home sale contingency. I'm doing one right now. Got my seller a fantastic house, big upgrade from her townhouse, and she was able to buy it on a home sale contingency in a multi-offer situation. That's something I take a lot of pride in. That's very hard to accomplish, and we were very deliberate in how we did that. Um, on the sales side, I can talk quite a bit to the difference between making a few little investments and getting your house ready for market. Because again, it's easy to say, listen, we can throw any house on the market right now and it will sell. Probably true. Not necessarily that easy, but pretty true. Um, but if you want to go the extra yard, and you want to put a little money into it and you want to fix up a couple little things, maybe take out some old carpets, do some painting, stuff like that. Not talking about mechanical and structural stuff. That's a whole different story. But doing those things to put a little extra presentation on your listing, you're throwing rocket fuel on this market when you already have something that's probably going to sell pretty quickly, but then you go a little extra and you make a couple little improvements, then sky's the limit on those offers. I just sold a townhouse in the Flemington area. It was beautifully staged, beautifully updated. And we had 35 people come through the open house. We had 9 offers. We didn't have a single offer at asking price, which, I price to market value. I don't look to overprice or underprice any of my listings. I look to see what I think the market value will be. And, in this market, after all this time, I'm still getting surprised by the offers that are coming in. Now, we do get a few that are near asking price because, a very good chance that that's all the resources that person has. They want to put in, a good solid effort. But for the most part, we're still seeing that people are just coming in over the top. And I have, part of my listing process is I have a complimentary staging consult that I pay for. I pay the stager to come in and work with you. If you choose to go, heavy on the staging and added services, you can work that out with the stager. But you will come out of that consultation with my stager that I pay for with a to-do list. You will have an actionable list of things to do to get your listing ready to show as best as it can. And that's a huge thing. That's been a huge success for us. And along those same lines, again, taking away this dialogue of, oh, this market's crazy, your house is going to sell regardless. That's probably true. But there, it's not just a matter of, do we want it to sell? Of course we want it to sell. That's the whole goal. That's how I got paid. That's how I get paid. That's how I make my living. And that's great. But we want to make sure that it is getting top dollar as well. If you want top dollar, then that the house has to look like top dollar. It has to look top shelf. And those are the ones that are really, really crushing it right now. That's the spectrum I'm giving you. This house will sell no matter what. We're not going to touch it. Even being sold as is, which I never recommend unless there's a very specific reason. Because that's where you're going to take a huge hit, all the way up to let's go crazy with staging and really deck this thing out. That's the spectrum, and we just have to kind of figure out where you're going to fall in there. And that's why I'm here to help you advise. That's why my stager comes in. On top of that, as a reminder, the hook of my company is that we are heavy on the paid advertising. So again, any listing agent is going to take your house, throw it on the market, put a sign in the yard that anytime you list a house, it goes out to Zillow and Realtor, et cetera, et cetera. Now, if you go look at houses locally that are for sale, you're going to see houses that don't have professional pictures. The agent just took them with their cell phone, or sometimes even the homeowner. No drone pictures, which out here in Hunterdon County, if you have any property at all, there's almost no excuse to not take pictures with a drone so people can get a feel for the neighborhood and the yard and the land that's available to them. Because a lot of, as everyone knows, we have a lot of people moving out to Hunterdon, and this has always been the case. There's been times during this time where there was a little more of that happening, but there's always people moving out here from, east to west. That are new to Hunterdon County, don't really know the area. So those drone pictures are super important. On most of our listings, not all of them, but most of them, we do actually pretty extensive video marketing. And then with that video that we shoot, which is, it has commentary for me, is branded to my brand and gets sent out to Google and Facebook with paid custom ads. So I know that I'm going to put your listing on the multi-listing service, which is where they all go. And it's going to get sent out to Zillow and Realtor and Trulia and all those sites. But on top of that, we're putting in the paid advertising. So we're going to get it properly staged, and then we're going to do the paid ads. Those paid ads are going to assure that you get every eye on that property before it sells quickly. It's going to sell, probably true. But we don't want to just reserve it for the, handful of people in Hunterdon that had a search saved for your specific 4-bedroom, 400 to 500,000. Oh, great. One popped up. That we don't want just those people. We want the people that might not even know your town exists. We want to get the people that, maybe they were not thinking about that budget, but then they see your house and they're like, oh boy, maybe we could make this work. That's the point of getting it in front of people that maybe weren't expecting it. And that's where the paid ads come in, is making sure that we get every set of eyes on that listing that might be interested in it, not just the people that are specifically looking for that type of listing, that type of town. So we got a lot of small towns around here. So we have, a town like Kingwood or Hampton, or maybe even a Highbridge or something like that, the people that are willing to move there, they might not even know that town exists. So it's not saved in any of their searches. So when a listing comes up in that town, they don't see it. They haven't told their realtor they're interested in that town. But you know what? They are looking in Clinton. And then they see this one pop up in, Hampton, and they say, oh, you know what? This could actually work. This hits all our check boxes. I don't know much about Hampton. Tell me about Hampton. And those are the people that we're capturing with those paid ads. And that is, again, kind of throwing that rocket fuel on there. So getting it properly staged is one thing that I highly recommend. Drone photography and professional photos, that is a must. And then on top of that, the paid ads to bring in the people that may not have considered it previously. We also have a lot of buyer exhaustion now. So buyer exhaustion is when people have been looking for a while. They probably put in a handful of offers. I mean, I've had clients that have, had to put in 2 or 3 offers, and then they come back to me and they say, Craig, we're just tired. It's really just heartbreaking when we really fall in love with houses and then we find out we don't get them. And I say, listen, I do understand. You have to be patient and you have to be persistent. And I've had this conversation with many clients who are now sitting in their new homes that they were convinced it was time to stop looking. And that easing up like that can really cost you an opportunity. So that's a thing. So again, the people that are buyer exhausted, maybe they're not proactively checking those emails. And maybe when I put your house up for sale, that person doesn't check that email because they don't check them every day anymore because they're just tired of the process. Well, guess what? That's where the paid ads come in. They're going to get them through Facebook. They're going to get them through Google when that house, your house, pops up and they say, man, I'm tired of looking, but I really like the look of that house. And then getting back with me and putting together a really airtight offer for buyers or for sellers, having you benefit from all these people that may not have considered your home and now they will consider it. So again, the market is, still essentially the same it was in the craziness of the past couple of years. However, it's arguably better for sellers at this point because there's just fewer inventory. Now there's a seasonal aspect to this that we're just getting out of the winter, and every year the things slow down around this time and then they start to pick up, which I'm here to tell you they are picking up. In the past 2 weeks, I've put 5 houses under contract. And prior to that, the 2 months prior to that, I didn't put any under contract. So things are definitely picking up again. And it's going to be another crazy year. Now, all of that being said, we have to keep an eye on the other variable in this is mortgage rates. Mortgage rates we have to expect that they're going to go up at some point. They're historically low right now. I just had a client lock in a 2.2% loan. That is 2.2% loan. That is phenomenal. These were young first-time home buyers. And to be able to lock that in a 30-year mortgage at 2.2% is just unbelievable. Well, that's great. and it really helps your buying power, because now you can really kind of afford, things that might not be available to you if that interest rate was higher. And we can actually provide that information for you. So if interest rates go up, say 2%, we can tell you what's going to happen to your buying power. Obviously, buying power comes way down, because you still got to borrow the money and factor in that interest. So the price that you can pay for that house is obviously going to come down. So there is that kind of overlays. I think all of us are kind of holding our breath to see when those rates are going to go up. And when the rates go up, it's going to affect everyone, buyers and sellers, because for sellers, if you have a house that's going to sell at 500,000, well, rates go up, you just lost a lot of the people that could potentially buy your house. So that is creating a little bit of urgency in the market. And that is part of why we're seeing such a manic market. So in a nutshell, that's an update without giving much of an update. The news is that things haven't changed much, but inventory is lower, but it is still pretty crazy out there. But it is a little bit more muted. I think, so many people have bought homes over the past few years that, it's slowing down a little bit naturally. But it's still quite crazy out there. Still a lot happening. So that is a market update for now. I'm going to pretty much cut it off at this point. Please, if you ever have any questions, and there's something you'd like me to cover in a future free real estate advice Friday, or if you just have a question for me you'd like to ask me, offline, please feel free to give me a call. My phone number is all over my Facebook profile. If you haven't worked with me before and you're seeing this randomly, just Google my name, Craig Metz, Craig Metz. It's on the bottom of the screen here. And you can see all my reviews. That's generally what I just tell people now. Just Google my name. You'll see me. Read the reviews. References always available. But, looking to work with anyone who's tired or just is unsure. I'm a very strategic and hands-on agent, and I would love to help you accomplish whatever it is that you're looking to accomplish. Okay. So I do hope everyone has a great weekend. I will try to do these periodically on Fridays. I probably will not do them every Friday because I don't want to, sound like a broken record on some of these things. But and I'll try to bring in some guests, and I will try to bring up new subjects and not just talk about the general market all the time. But that's essentially it for this week. Everyone, please be healthy, take care of each other, and I will see you all soon. All right, have a great weekend, everyone. Bye-bye.